Hello and welcome everyone, my name is Grant and this is my second introduction to Victoria 2, and today I'm going to talk in a bit more detail about factories and the economy in Victoria 2, because it's a concept that can be a bit complex and you have to dig pretty deep into the paradox forums to find the people who tested all of this. Now, I myself did not test and verify most of the information I'm going to tell you, so I'll include the links down below to the people who actually did this. If you want to check that out, if you want to have a bit more information, because I'm not going to be quite as detailed as they are, please do that, check them out, say thanks for them doing a lot of hard work, and now let's get to it. I've chosen the UK for this because they already start industrialized. We are a few months in, so we could have actual proper data. The game doesn't quite know what the economy is all about in the beginning of the game. It needs some time to actually get running. And, well, let's dive right in. Our factory tab. I showed you this in the last video and it was quite empty, but now as the UK you can see we have quite a few of them divided for our states. We can't build more with our current policy, and the ones we have look to be quite okay. Let's go over why I say that they are doing okay. First, they're all level 1, like every factory is level 1, the starting level. But this one here is upgrading, it's expanding. It will take time, just like building a factory, and afterwards it can produce more and employ more people. That one is upgrading to level 3, impressive. And we're building a new one. Yeah, okay, we have here one factory that is not doing quite as good. But yeah, let's talk about why they're doing well. If you look at them, they're full employment. 10,000 out of 10,000. Well, not quite, but nearly. And what does that mean? I mean, 10,000 craftsmen and clerks are working there, roughly. Having near full employment means that you're very close to your full output. If you hover over the icon of what the factory is producing, like I'm here, you will, as always, get far more information than before. Let's see this. This factory produced 3.44 streamers yesterday. This is below its maximum output. You can see that's 4.70. And why is that? Why aren't we producing the max? Our output efficiency is at 117%. We have full base rate, we have clerks, we have output efficiency tag, we have laissez-faire as a policy. That gives us all bonuses to output efficiency. Throughput, we have craftsmen, that's great, we have throughput tag, and we have a bonus. Now, if you look at this bonus down below, 25%, we get half of that for having a steel factory in the lowlands. This is the state where the factory is in. And they also get 12.5% for producing coal. This means that in Victoria 2, factories become more efficient and more effective when you have a chain linking the resources and the production. A streamer's shipyard needs steel and coal. So if you produce steel and coal in the same state, they get a bonus to their production. This is not the same as requiring those resources. You still need to buy them, and it doesn't matter if you get enough from the state. It doesn't matter if our steel factory produces enough for the streamer shipyard. It doesn't matter if we produce enough coal in that state. The simple fact that we produce some gives us this bonus. We still need to buy the whole amount of resources we need either from our own market or from the international market. And if we come to the last part, maintenance goods that we need. You can see that we don't have enough. We need cement and we need machine parts, but we don't have enough. And so our output is reduced. We are losing 5.6%. And, well, that hurts. But this is the basic, yeah? If you see a lot more green in this than red, that's good. You want that. So how do you get a factory running like this? You need several thousands of craftsmen, a good bunch of clerks, and of course you need to always look at the resources. Do I have the necessary resources in this state to get a bonus? And you can chain these together if you look at our steel factory. Well, that's actually they're actually producing max. That's because they get the maintenance. But if you look at this, the steel factory gets a bonus from because we produce coal in this state, but we don't produce iron. But again, it doesn't stop production. It just doesn't give us a bonus. So you can, when you build this chain of factories, you don't necessarily need all components in every factory, but you can say, I want my cars. I want to produce cars later on, and I will need several things for that. I will need steel. I will need machine parts. Electrical parts. But you can say, okay, I don't have everything I need for machine parts, but I will still put a factory into this state, just so that my automobile factory will have the full bonus. You have to decide at some point which factory you want to run with the biggest bonus you can get, and if you can make a factory profitable, even though it doesn't get that bonus. Now, in general, iron and coal, if you get at least one of them, it's good enough. You can see this. You have the maintenance goods, and you're producing max. It's great. You're gonna need steel and coal for many things. It's basically the base of industrialization. But let's go a bit further. Do we have anything? Again, we are lacking maintenance goods here. Probably. Yeah, there too. Now here we see we don't have a single one of the bonuses, which is kinda annoying, but we get a bonus from this factory. This is what I just talked about. Sometimes you have to decide, I need a factory that doesn't get any bonuses, just so that the factory that comes after it gets a bonus. Of course, you should always keep maintenance up. So it's kinda painful to watch this. Yes, again, we produce fabric, even though we don't get a bonus for this. But we get a bonus to clothes. It's a decision you have to make. Again, you don't have both bonuses, but you have one. It's use them. These bonuses are great, and they will help you immensely in keeping your factories profitable. Because that's what I'm going to talk about now. All we've looked at for now is the production. How much they build. But all of that, well, it matters. Of course it matters. But it matters because of this. Everything the factory produces, it needs to sell. And if you look at your factory's income, you can see if it's profitable or not. Let's look at this. We have the last day's balance plus 31. That's great. That's good. The last day's profitability was plus 15. Average profitability plus 14. It's all fine. The poor income for the last day was 227. The market spendings were 196. Now, That means this factory had to spend 196 pounds sterling for resources. You can see uh, this includes the resources they need to build something and the maintenance goods. Don't know the estimated needs for today. Altogether, those are the market spendings. And once you have subtracted the market spendings from your poor income, the rest, the money that's what do you call it? This isn't just a profit. This is the money that's paid out in wages to the craftsmen, the clerks, and the capitalists. This is in turn the money that you will tax, and the money the capitalists will put into new projects, or that the clerks and the craftsmen will use to buy their everyday needs and their luxury needs. What this means is the people need to buy stuff to survive, and for that they need to earn money, and for that your factories need to make money. This is the important part of profitability. If your factories are barely working, your people are barely getting any money. And if they won't make the money to survive, they won't become craftsmen, or if they already are, they will demote, they will lose that rank and become something else, like a farmer or a laborer, maybe even an artisan, who knows. But they will not be what you want them to be, craftsmen in your factories. So how can you influence this? Well, just like we said, look at your production. You need to produce. And you need to get them the resources they need to produce. This is easier when there are more capitalists in a factory. We told about this, the pop projects. You can invest in those, yeah? And, well, we can't because we have laissez-faire, but with other policies you could. Let's see, yeah. This is... They want to expand explosive factory in the Midlands. There's one here. Because it's full. They are making money. Production is a bit low, but it's fine. They need 1.4k pounds sterling for that. To buy all of this. And we currently have 5,119 investors, capitalists for this. The more there are of them, the easier it is for them to buy all the resources they need, the maintenance goods. That's why it's not always the best idea to fund everything the moment it appears. You can, but you're gonna have to intervene a lot. So it's better to let them build it themselves. Let them get up numbers, let them get up strength. The more people are invested in the project, the better. That's what you want, that's the goal. And I completely forgot what I was talking about before switching to the projects tab. But that's probably fine. Now, I can't because it's laissez-faire. But this here, these three boxes, which looks similar to the influence tab, if you remember that, the priority. If you check these boxes up to the third, the more prioritized the factory is. That means it has a first pick on available workforce and resources, as far as I know. At very least the workforce is given. So if you suddenly have an influx of craftsmen because they've been promoted, or because another factory closes, they will first come to this factory, which is a solid idea for a factory that's starting out. You can see this factory can't have been built for very long because it has no people in it. Yeah, obviously, if no one's working there, you're not going to produce anything. So this is also the problem you will have if you're not playing the UK, or you're playing a country with very low literacy. because you don't have any craftsmen, you will barely produce anything. In general, this means you will have to subsidize all the factories just to keep them running. And even then, they won't be producing much. Can we actually? We can. Let's say yes, state capitalism. Now, here we could choose which ones we want to see, or which we don't want to see. Let's say we don't want to see steel. No? Empty states, yes. You'll see that we have a bit more room for this. No, why did you not do what I want? Huh. Anyway, if you click select all and then subsidize, as you can see, we will pay for input costs and the minimum wages. This can keep a factory afloat, somewhat, but in general you want them at some point to not need your help anymore, if possible. I mean, there's not much you can do about it until they're full, or at least they have a decent amount of workforce. So if you can, keep them subsidized until they're big enough to survive on their own. Again, for that, keep them efficient. Make sure that they have the resources they need and the workforce they need. And that's a bit of struggle against your own literacy if it's shit. But let's talk about resources. I keep telling you that you need to supply them with the resources they need. How? Well, let's look at this. This is our production tab. As you can see, it shows us what we produce in what amount and who produces it. You can see our ammunition factories are only producing 2.45 ammunition each day, while our artisans are producing 25. Right, that's a factor 10. That's pretty good. But over time, as your factories become more efficient, excuse me, and bigger, they will of course start outproducing artisans, and they will become poor and then become craftsmen for your factories. Now, if you can supply your factories with your own resources, that would be great, but you're probably not going to be able to do that. That's just, they're going to need more. That brings us to trade. Now that's something I was a bit confusing in my last video. The common market is of course not the international market. This is not where every country in the world can buy stuff from. The common market is where you and countries in your sphere can buy from. This is all of your resources. 50% of all resources of secondary powers that are in your sphere, 75% of our resources of civilized nations, and 100% of the resources of uncivilized nations in your sphere. And this is of course ranked, ordered by rank, so you buy first, then your factories buy, then your pops buy. Then the highest ranked member of his sphere, his government buys, then his factories, then his pops, and so on and so on. This, you're nobody paying tariff for these things in the common market. It's your market. That's why you want people in your sphere that offer you resources you don't have. Now the international market, that's where you, if people buy from there, they will pay tariffs. And this is for the most part, at the beginning of the game at least, automated, if you can see this. You can do it manually, and there are some advantages to that. For example, you could say, let's say military goods is a good place. And we see the price that it has, the development, how much we need for it, and how much we and our spherelings are producing of it. So if we need more than we and the countries in our sphere produce, we need to buy from the international market. And for these things, if it's automated, you don't always buy this. You only buy it when you need it. Or you keep a bit for the maintenance. But if you suddenly need to raise an army or rebuild an army, you'll often be caught in a delay because, well, you need ammunition and you need a lot of it, but everyone who's above you in rank gets it first. And if they're also rebuilding the army, you're gonna wait a long time. So for this, it's often excuse me again, not a bad idea to say, if you have the money, okay, I'll do this manually. I want to buy. Don't want to sell, and I want 2,000. Confirm the trade. Let's let it run for a bit. Let's see that we're spending quite a lot of money on this, and let's ignore this. If we order our stock by size, there we are. We have barely, not even half of it, so it will cost us much more. Yes, 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 whatever. There we go. We have now 2,000 units of ammunition in our stockpile. This means it is not in the common market, it is not in the international market, this is our national stockpile. Only we, the government, as far as I know, can use this. In some mods, you have the option to let your population buy from this. There's an extra button here. This was also in the game in earlier expansion, but it has been since removed because you can break the game with this. You can crush the economy, and I think even cause a blue screen if you go too heavy. But right now, the point of this is only for you and for the government, and that's why you can. There's no reason, or very little reason, to buy anything but military goods and industrial goods that you will know you will need, like cement or machine parts, steel, or steamers. It's always clipper convoys, my apologies, steamers. Mostly because of these things, when everyone starts to industrialize, those things will be in low supply because everyone needs them. And clipper and steamer convoys, at the start of the game, they are in very low supply. Like, you can see that. Game starts and people want them. They need transports, they need ships, so the price goes apeshit, and the UK builds most of the clippers, so everyone else is out of luck. So take this as a little advice on the side. If you need ships, transports early in the game, build them before you unpause. If you're lucky, you will get a few of them, because the UK usually takes a few days before it starts ordering them. So you might get a few, which is better than nothing. Now we have this stockpile. It will keep our military and our personally funded factories, as far as I know. I'm not sure on that, but at very least the military. And we can build an army, so we won't be forced to wait, which can be crucial at times. Or when our own factories are, when our states with factories in them are occupied, and we are suddenly lacking in these goods to reinforce our armies. That's then also a moment where we need our stockpile. So if you have the money, it's not a bad idea to keep it. Of course, you don't need the 2,000 of them, but why not? Now, some of you may have noticed also there's a little increase there in ammunition, because we just bought 2,000 units of this. Like, that's 100 times would be, not quite, but you get the idea of what we produce ourselves. And let's see, we produce the most in the world, and we bought 100 times that. So yeah, we just moved the price a lot. Now we could also say, after we've driven the price up, let's sell it all again. We want nothing in our stockpile. Let's unpause, and what happens? Mission's gone, and the price went down a bit again. If we were to buy it now again, we'll probably go bankrupt, but I can also see we got some money, but we lost more than we did because it was already pretty expensive. But you can play around with this. It's very hard to get a lot out of this. Like, you could do this if you're the biggest producer of something. Like, I think the UK produces the most opium. No, the Chinese. Oh, that's okay. Yeah, we reproduce the most opium by far. Then we could play around with that and push the price up pretty high. I mean, I already did a bit of that, but you can try that. It's not a bad idea. Of course, it's expensive, and well, you can't really create a shortage if there already is one, because if you're too low in rank, everyone else will already have what they need before you can buy it up. So yeah, not quite the Wunderwaffe of economics that we would need. Now, we have here our needs. I've sorted them by the size of our needs. And in the last video you couldn't see, but now we have the needs of our factories. Again, there's quite a bit, you can see. It's all there, the need for a population. It's not surprising. Liquor, clothes are the kind of things they need the most and want the most. Opium, too, that's mostly for the bureaucrats, as far as I know, because they just need to have drugs. And that's basically it as far as trade is concerned. You can let it automated, you can do it manually. If you do, it's a tricky business, but you should at least know of it. As you can see, supply and demand is everything, but there's a limit. This game does not allow infinite, the price cannot change beyond limit. You have a base price for every resource in the game, and this price can only change up to a factor of 5. It doesn't matter how much supply there is and how little demand, or the reverse. Price can only be either a fifth of its base price or 5 times its base price. And it will change over day to reach that price. But once it reaches that limit, it won't change any further. So there are lists, I will put it also down there in a link for the base price. Once you know the base price of something, and people have also made a list about how efficient factories are money-wise, which products make the most, what you get the most. And I'll put all of these links down there so you can watch it yourselves. I'm not going to show you the tables of that in this video. That's just a bit too much, I think. Now that was trade, the production. Yes, something new that I, for example, did not know. The National Bank. As you can see, you have as a government a national bank, and this national bank holds the money of your pops. If they have money that they don't need to buy something, like their everyday needs or luxury needs, they will put it in the national bank, which would be useful if they would get interest for it. They don't, at least not just for being there. The only way money in the national bank will get interest is when it is loaned to someone else, to a country. So if you want to increase this money through interest, the money that your people invest into this, you can, for example, take a loan of your own. No, it's not always guaranteed that this loan will be taken from your national bank. In this case, okay, in this case it is because it was the first one. Loans will also be given by banks of other countries, especially if you're running low and you don't notice and you suddenly realize, oh, I've been running negative for a while, and you have this long list of country or banks that have given you a loan. You can repay that at once. You can also see whom you are giving loans to, which is great. That's good. And let's there we have it. There's an interest of £1 sterling. I don't know if it's per day or per year, probably. No, per day. There is a formula for calculating the interest per year and per day, but again, that's pretty complicated. I'm not going to go into it. Just let it be known that there is a national bank. If you take a loan from your national bank and you pay it back, the interest, it will go back to the pops. Otherwise, if it's just sitting in the national bank, until it's loaned out, there's no interest. So it's a little something. But what I wanted to highlight with this was something you will notice when you suddenly get a pop-up that a country cannot repay its loans. The game is talking about this. That means something I often did was I would ignore it because, well, I have enough money. Why should I care if someone in South America isn't paying back my loans? Well, the point is, it's not yours. This is the money of the national bank, and this is the money your pops will never see again. It's interest that they're lost. It's money that they're lost. And if you want to grow your population, if you want to grow your capitalists, if you want them to be happy and not rise up in a violent rebellion because they're not able to pay for their everyday needs, they should have money. So make people pay their debts to you, yeah? If you need to be all German up Greece's ass, do so. This is for the good of your population. You're playing this game for your people, not for theirs. So get back the money they owe your people. It will help your economy. I can't give you a number how much. Just something to keep in mind. It's not useless. It's not about your money. Your money is great for building things. But the more money you keep hoarded, the less is going around. Like, you don't need high tariffs when you've already built all you can build. Like, if all your railways are up to the final level or to the highest level you have, and all your factories are at the level you want them to have, or you don't have the kind of factory you want to build there, there's no reason to have a high income. You can put it down, keep some in reserve. You don't need to run a negative. You don't even need to break even. Just slightly positive, maybe £100, maybe less. It fluctuates every day, so keep it safe, but you don't need to have millions and billions on your as the government. It's money that could be in your economy. It's money that your pops could have, and they are the ones who will count in the end. They're the ones who will do the useful stuff for you. So, in short, make sure that your factories, and through your factories, your pops have money. I can't underscore that enough because it's the basics of the industry. All the little people there need money. You need to make sure they can make it. So that's basically it. We can go a bit in more detail about the factors here. Like I talked about output efficiency already, how much you can get out of the same input. The throughput, it simply allows you to produce more altogether. There's your maximum that you can produce. You get throughput, you can do more. You need more, but you can also produce more, which is great. If the difference in price is high enough, the throughput is extremely good. Of course, input and output will be more effective when it comes to monetary gain, but it's still good. You want input, output, and throughput, all of them. And I think that's basically it. And briefest of senses. There's not much more I can tell you about factories. I can talk a bit. I mean, there's your geo output, which shows you what your provinces produce. And if you click on one province with coal, for example, it would highlight all other provinces in the world that produce it, which is great if you need to know who to conquer next, for example. And it also helps you to say, okay, I get a bonus for cement, for steel, everything that needs coal gets a bonus if I build it in this state, or this state, this state, this state. That's the same. But you get it. That's the Midlands. Great. You have coal and iron, which means you can make steel. Full bonus. Excellent. Even better, if you have a factory that produces steel and you have coal, then you can build a factory that produces machine parts because it needs both of them. Again, full bonus. And so on and so on. Use the resources you have to build up a chain of efficiency. It's a big bonus and you should use it. Don't be afraid to build a factory just because you don't have the craftsmen. Because, I mean, it goes a bit in another direction, but a factory will draw people in. If you have a factory in a state, people are more likely to move to that state than to a state without a factory. That's just a part of industrialization. People are drawn to work, and a factory has a lot of place for workers. Of course, all of that requires that you can afford it. If you can't afford a factory, please don't build it. You will just go bankrupt and that's it. But still, it's something to keep in mind. You need to look at all of this. It sounds a bit confusing because you often don't know what they need. You'll have to switch around a lot. Like, let's see. Here we have Ipswich, and it produces grain. We don't have any money right now, so we can't build anything, but what uses grain? This doesn't need grain. This doesn't need grain. Nothing of that uses grain. Yeah, because I can already tell you liquor needs grain. There we go. Liquor. Liquor distillery needs grain and glass. So, if we are here at the eastern counties, we need grain, which we have, and glass. Thankfully, glass is produced from coal. We have both, so we could say, okay, first we'll build a glass factory, and then we'll build a liquor distillery. Again, build up a chain of efficiency. It increases the ability of the factories. So that's important. Yes, but I keep saying this, but I also need to reiterate, don't be afraid if you don't have all parts of the chain. Like, canned food, yeah, there we go. Canned food needs a lot. You will not have all the resources you need for this often. Like, I don't know which state has all of that at the same time. So, if you don't have everything, yeah, okay, it sucks. But some things you want to produce anyway. Canned food is one of them. If you remember, that's a military good, you need it for your soldiers. If you only have 2 of them, even you only have 1 of them, fine, doesn't matter. You need it, build it. You want the efficiency, but some stuff you just want. And I know it's confusing because I'm giving you advice that's often, I say one thing then tell you another, because that's the way the game is. You need to judge each situation. Like, do I need this more than I need a good efficiency chain? And there are a few things where that it happens. Military goods are one of them. And, well, keep also in mind that how efficient and how productive your factories are going to be can change. Like I talk about military goods. Military goods in peacetime are not going to sell that well. They will sell, but not that well. Now in war, they will sell like hotcakes. Everyone needs military goods during a war, especially if the army gets crushed. They need to rebuild. This draws a bit into peacetime, but again, during peacetime, they will not need as much military goods, so you will not sell as much. During those times, it's good if you can subsidize those military factories. And, well, there's always the stockpile. For military goods, keeping a stockpile just to get stuff off your own factories and not have them drown in peacetime, it's solid. You wanted stuff anyway, in a huge stockpile when you need it, and you don't want your factories to run out. That's great, do it like that. It's a win through and through. Now, is there anything else about factories that you should know? Well, I talked about infrastructure, and now I can show it off. Railways. Yes, if you can build one, it's blue. As you can see, we need the technology to build it. We need to be allowed to build it from our economic policy. We need to have not have built it already. Level 0 of 1. Obviously we can build level 1. We have to have the money to buy it. That's what I meant with you need some money to buy railways and factories, but don't keep too much from the market. Stockpiling money is not very efficient. It's needed occasionally, but it hurts you. And then of course you need the resources for this. Again, if you know that you'll excuse me, you will finish a railway technology pretty soon, it's not a bad idea to say, okay, stockpile timber, steel and cement please, because I'm gonna modernize half of Europe now. In this case, let's see, I don't think I have the money for this, but we can change that. There we go. Now for this, let's say we want Northeast England. We want to build a railroad. Click and control all provinces of the state. This makes it easier than just doing it province by province. But still, once your country gets big enough, it's work. As you can see, I'm now constructing railways everywhere. And I just upgraded this area, only this area. We had 100,000 and now we're down to this. So yeah, if you know this time comes to update your railways or to build new factories, store up some money, otherwise let it go. Be like Elsa. So. Another thing, yes, we talked about focuses before, and you can encourage craftsmen and clerks. This is not a bad idea if you have the literacy for it and if you've already got anything more important, like your clergymen or your bureaucrats or your soldiers. Encouraging soldiers is not a bad idea when you need it, when you just have too few brigades. You can do this if you see that you just don't have enough craftsmen to make this profitable. Put the focus on craftsmen, wait a bit. It should start to fill up faster than otherwise. That can be all you need. So, and are we done now? Well, there's still something else, yes. There are resources that are not currently produced in the game in 1836. For example, oil and rubber. Later on there will also be tanks and automobiles, electronic parts, a few bits more, but I keep forgetting them. Oil and rubber. I mean, the rest will come with technology. You will you will research the technology to build cars and airplanes and tanks and electronic parts. But oil and rubber will appear on the map as resources that your resource generating organizations make. Resource generating organizations, RGOs, those are the where your laborers and your farmers work to give you these base resources. And there is a map that shows you where oil and rubber appears in a certain year. But in general, you can guess that grain, for example, becomes oil relatively often. I know the Abu Dhabi appears. Brunei also gets some oil. And tropical wood becomes rubber. Not all of it, of course, but some. Especially here in Angola and Sudan, Brazil, Venezuela, they will get a lot of rubber and oil. We'll get a bit here in Austria too, and Russia will get some. Africa in general will have a few, I think. Some malts will have some rubber, or some tropical wood and then rubber here in this area. But these are resources that will appear, and they're one of the reasons why you want to colonize and why you want to put the foot down on some uncivilized nations, because they have stuff you need, like, yeah, CM, opium. We talked about this, our bureaucrats want it. We currently produce like 80% of it. It would be nice if we had the rest of it too, so put them into your sphere, make a stockpile, piss everyone off. You can do that. That's the joys of Victoria 2. You can really fuck around with other countries in this if your rank is high enough. And I think that's pretty much it. We talked about your factories, how they produce, how they make money, what you need to buy, how you can buy it, you can stockpile it. Well, we talked about the technology for this the last time, the industry, and a bit in commerce. That's pretty much it. It's just really a lot of trial and error saying, yeah, I have coal, I have iron, I will make a steel factory. Use that. It will pay off. If you have any questions, if there's anything I should go in more detail, let me know. If there are any questions about the links I will put down below, let me know. I'll try to clear anything up I can. If I can't, I will hit the books and try to learn what I can't explain yet. Otherwise, thank you for watching and have a nice day.